If I get hit in the face with a salmon, I swear to God.
Washington's San Juan Islands are one of the best and most accessible places in the U.S. to kayak with wildlife. From seals to sea stars, orcas and porpoises, these islands have so much to offer, and arguably the best way to experience them is by kayak camping. After working as a sea kayak guide here in 2023, I was more than happy to hop on a plane and head back out this August to paddle with a group of strangers with the Chicas Abroad Women's Travel Group. First stop, Deception Pass State Park.
Everybody wave. That's a good sign.
The single biggest puzzle piece of sea kayaking in the San Juan Islands is the tides, and so Deception Pass State Park, even if by land, makes for a good stop to get acquainted with the Salish Sea. Beneath the Deception Pass Bridge, tidal currents can reach speeds of greater than 9 knots. For reference, a group of beginner tandem sea kayakers can maybe sustain 3 knots.
A lagoon. Very nice.
Beyond current, the tide itself funnels in and out of the Salish Sea with a nearly 14-foot tidal range. At low tide, the intertidal zone is exposed and you can peer into tide pools. At high tide, beaches flood and sand spits and tombolos disappear. To get out to San Juan Island, you take the ferry from Anacortes out to Friday Harbor, and this takes about 2 hours, including just waiting around, and you will want a reservation if you're bringing your car out for sure. We went as walk-on passengers because there are places to stay near the ferry terminal, and the kayak outfitter picks up paddlers from Friday Harbor anyways.
3 o'clock.
Nice.
The night before we actually hit the water, we went whale watching as a group, which I would highly recommend to anyone looking to kayak in the San Juan Islands because it takes pressure off the whole, will we see whales while we kayak aspect and lets you enjoy your paddling trip for what it is. There is so much wildlife to see out there and so much to experience, whether it's bioluminescence or sleeping under the stars, and if you're so focused on wanting to see whales from a kayak, it can really undermine the rest of the experience. So book a whale watching trip. You'll learn more and you will see whales.
Adults can hold their breath for about a half an hour. We don't usually see that. Eco types of killer whales that spend time, under pack ice might pull from those reserves a little bit more.
Yeah.
But average dive time is 3 to 5 minutes. Sometimes if they're sleeping, they might be going down for longer.
Yeah.
Here we are watching Biggs orcas, which is the ecotype that hunts seals. I've written a lot about my encounters with orcas while kayaking in the Salish Sea, which have been kind of incredible. So if you would like orca-specific stories and information, that will be linked below. The next day we got up early to pack boats and meet our kayak guide.
So we are just going to ride the shore of San Juan and hopefully stay out of that.
Right off the bat, we had our first wildlife encounter, which was leaping pink salmon. We were watching pink salmon leap all around us and then off the shore off of Henry Island as well.
Whoa, yeah, they're everywhere. Sorry, I'm letting you paddle so I can add this into my YouTube video. Hope that's okay.
He goes abroad. Your mom's like, this could be you.
This is content. That was cool.
Oh my god. What are you guys doing?
Whoa.
So hard.
We made it to camp on Stewart Island, where in true Outdoor Odysseys fashion, our kayak guide, Meg, made us some wild food that we immediately all took videos of because it was too pretty to eat right away. It did taste as good as it looked.
Everyone gather around and take a picture of the food.
It's okay as long as they're decent. They're not scary.
Ooh, and in amazing news,
On the second day of kayaking, we headed out on a day paddle to explore a couple of smaller islands and hopefully see some wildlife.
You know how sometimes you realize you have to pee and it's worse when you realize it, but then you kind of acclimate to the feeling of having to pee and it gets better? Yeah. That's where I am.
oh, the whole cluster.
Rocky, beautiful shores of Satellite Island. Yeah.
That's what's should we start pulling out to the right?
No, we're nosing our way up in here.
What do you mean? I love that was your first thought. Someone I came up to a random bowl of food.
Overall, on our day paddle, we saw a few species of sea stars, jellyfish, we did see orcas, I did not get a video, and then we saw this deer on shore, which was really cute. After our day paddle, we hiked up to the lighthouse at Turn Point on Stewart Island, which is one of my favorite things about Stewart Island is how much there is to do on the one little island. The trail is a small dirt road that leads to the edge of the island, and the view looking out over the Canadian Gulf Islands is really great.
We're really close to the Canadian border, guys. Why did this light turn on?
With both the tide, a ferry, and flights to catch, the last day we got up super early and loaded boats before the sun and had a really beautiful morning on the water. Morning on the Harrow Strait is often windless and still, and we had porpoises with us most of the way back. I've been guiding for nearly 7 years now and leading women's trips for the last 2 trips, and I am always really sad to see everyone go at the end. Over the course of just a few days, there are so many inside jokes made and stories shared, and there's something really special in the way a group of solo travelers will blend and meet challenges together. At the end, it always feels like we've known each other for longer, like we've always been a team, and it's really strange to then all go back to our respective lives. We caught our ferry no problem and then beat Seattle traffic back to the airport, but for me, this was probably my most iconic travel day of the year, waking up at 4 a.m. on Stewart Island to kayak 12 miles, then to ride to Friday Harbor to then catch a ferry to Anacortes, drive to the airport. Then I caught a red eye from Seattle back to Minneapolis, and then a 4.5 hour drive home with no sleep. And you know what? I felt great.